Hello class, today we will be learning with the secondary colors and how to create them. In our previous lesson, we had a brief little introduction of the color wheel and the primary colors. Let's do a recap. The color wheel is a simple tool that helps you understand and how they relate to each colors. They're divided in sections. The first section is the primary colors. They are the basic colors in that you do not create any other colors to create them, so they're just the standard. Now let's learn what the secondary colors. The secondary colors is a second section. It's you mixing the two primary colors to create a new color. So that is what we're going to be learning today. We're going to create the second tier of the color wheel. Now the primary colors, they are red, blue, and yellow. Now the secondary color, we're going to learn what the new colors are. So we'll have 6 colors on our color wheel this time. Alrighty, so the materials that we're going to be needing today is our color palette, some paper towels to dry your brush, obviously your brush, a cup for the water, and your 3 colors, red, blue, and yellow. And then you're going to need a color template, the color wheel template that has the red, yellow, and blue already marked, and then the 3 different spaces of the new colors we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's go put our colors on the color palette. As you see right here, we have red, yellow, and blue. Let's start off first by putting the colors that we already know. So on the top, we'll have the red and red. Right here, we'll have the blue and blue. And then on the other side, we're going to have the yellow and yellow. We're going to go ahead and paint those colors in so we already know which colors that we're going to be mixing. Alright, so we're going to do the first color. We're going to put the yellow on the paper. Make sure that you are coloring it nicely so it doesn't overlap with the other colors and then it stays in each other's spots. So you're just going to carefully just glide the color around the lines just to make sure that it stays in and that it will not go outside. Even if you do, it's okay. Just try to be careful. It's just to help you understand what each color are, and it doesn't, give you a spoiler of what the colors we're mixing gonna be in. So this is the first one. I did the yellow, just so it stays in the square. And then obviously you see that the corner points into this cube. So that means that this part is going to also be yellow. We're going to do the same for the red and for the blue. You're going to just color those in. And so afterward, we're going to start to our next step. We're going to be mixing our first 2 colors. When working with this type of project, it's best to use a small brush so you can make sure that you stay in line and the paint doesn't go out. Unless you have a big color wheel template, then you can use a medium-sized brush. But a template this small, it's best to use a small brush, and also to have a large color palette where there's multiple spots so it gives you enough room to mix all the paint together. So our color wheel should be looking like this after we put our first primary colors. It's going to be red, yellow, and blue. We're going to start with our first 2 primary colors to create our first secondary color. So which color do you want to try to mix today?
Blue and red.
Red and blue? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of red, and you're going to put it in an empty spot. Just put it in there and then just get a good mixture. But you're gonna get a part of blue, like the same amount, so it can be an equal amount of colors. And then you're just going to mix in the colors evenly until we get our first color. Now let's say if you put it in a little too much blue. You can just easily get a little bit more red and just mix it in until you have a good color. Now, what color did we end up creating if we mix red and blue together?
Purple.
Correct. We made purple. So that is going to be our first secondary color. That is our fourth color on the color wheel. Now, where you see the red and blue, you're going to put our new color in between so that we know in between these two spots, red and blue makes, what was it again? Yes, purple. So you're just going to get that new color that we made, and you're just going to color in between. Make sure you don't go over the line, so we know that the red and blue makes purple and that we just have a good color wheel throughout the page. Thank you. All right, class, let's see what everyone's color looks like. Yes, that looks so good. Alright, so we have our first secondary color, which is going to be purple. It should be in between the red and blue. What color should we do next?
Red and yellow.
Yes, okay. Let's do red and yellow next. So we're going to do the same step as we did the first one. You're going to put a little mixture of red and yellow in one of the empty spots, and you're going to make sure you mix evenly so you can get a good consistent color, and so it won't be thrown off by adding too much red or adding too much yellow. It doesn't matter if you do end up adding too much red and yellow. You can easily fix it by adding the opposite color. So we're going to start our second set of colors. So we're going to do what we did before. We're just going to get a little bit of red, put it in an empty spot, doesn't matter where, just make sure that it's an empty spot where you can add the colors and mix nicely. And then you're going to either just rinse it off or just dry it off the paper towel, just where you can get the red off. So we're just going to go on one corner of the yellow and just mix it up evenly. Like I said before, if you don't have enough, you can just always add more to create the color we're trying to get. Alright, class, now can anyone tell me what the color we made for our secondary color?
Orange.
Yes, we made orange. So after we have mixed the yellow and red, we have made our secondary color. It will be orange. So right like we did with the red and blue, we're going to put it in the middle of the spot like we did purple. So between red and yellow, we're going to put it there. So that'll be our orange. So it should look something similar like this. We're like slowly building our color wheel. So it should be blue, purple, red, the first set. And it should be red, orange, and yellow, our second set. And then I'm gonna let y'all do the third set on your own and see if everyone can tell me as a class what our last secondary color is. Okay, now who can tell me what is our last secondary color we just created?
Green.
Yes, we just made green. So when you're mixing red and yellow, it will become this green earthy tone color. So where should you put the last color at? Yes, in between the yellow and blue, correct. So the last spot is the last empty spot. So it's gonna be right between the blue and the yellow. So we know like in this spot that we just created green. And that's gonna complete our color wheel. So y'all can go ahead and like color in that last spot and just let me know when you're done. Alright class, so we just completed this week's lesson where we made our color wheel by finding our secondary color by mixing the two primary colors. Now can anyone tell me what was the primary colors? Yes, red, yellow, and blue. Now can someone tell me what are the new colors we just found? Yes, the secondary colors. And what are those? Yes, it's going to be green, purple, and orange. So that is our lesson for today. Next week, we'll be learning the third section of the color wheel. Thank you.